It's the Jim Fannin Show. We've come to take your mind.
Am I still on? Dragos is my guest. We've had him on before. We're going to talk all things Dominican, all things real estate, all things Legal Shield. Buckle up and welcome aboard. Yow! And this is where you find my man on the fake book. Let me just switch up here, and I do all this production myself here, so I got to make sure the music is off, and then I bring the sound up on my boy. And this is him on the Instagram. This is his website, FamaRD.com. All the links are in the show description. DR Legal Shield is over. Hey, we're going to talk about that. And Mario's got a new listing in New York City. And I thought this was this pretty sweet marketing strategy. I'm just going to play you a quick. It's 30 seconds, but it's not that big of an apartment. New York City, right? So here's Mario Fama's one of his latest videos, and you can judge for yourself.
Hi guys, I'm here in New York City to show you a big spacious apartment in the East Village. Take a look. This is your closet area here. Then you can do like your kitchen area right here. Then you can do more closet space or living area. Use this as a living dining area. And then this is your bedroom where you can fit a full-size bed. I'm kidding, this is a closet in the Dominican Republic, the size of a New York City studio. Ha ha!
And you're doing some production on these. Unmute your mic there for me, brother. You're doing a little bit of video production on these. Is that you, or you got a talented guy that does this for you? I'm an iMovie kind of guy. If my video editing skills go beyond iMovie, I'm finished. I'm done. Who's doing it? You got a little stinger on the end there, so I know you didn't make that yourself.
So I have the microphones that I use. I bought the professional mics, the JLC, whatever that everybody uses with the little bunny ears and stuff. So I bought that, but I have the guys who do my social media, so they've been editing it. They put the writing, because sometimes a lot of people like to listen to podcasts or look at videos, and they like to read on the bottom, especially people that maybe they don't speak the language, and learning English is easier for them to do that. So I do have people doing that because I just don't have time. I got so much creativity, so many things that I want to do, but I'm also managing my firm now. I used to have managers, so now I manage everything myself. So I'm managing that. I am co-manager of the law firm that I have. I'm relaunching the Mario Crestman luxury brand out of Santo Domingo with my partner there. So you can imagine, I am here, I'm there, I am everywhere.
You're spread kind of thin. That's great.
Oh, no, I have 4 offices before. This is nothing.
Oh, really?
Four
okay.
offices all over the Dominican Republic. This is great because most of my stuff is based out of just my office in Punta Cana. So that's why I'm there Monday to Friday now, working and everything.
How are you finding the learning curve in a new industry with a law firm? I know you've had some help there too, but how has it been different building something from scratch in a different field that you're not accustomed to?
Well, I never graduated, but I went to, to John Jay College of Criminal Justice. I wanted to be a lawyer at one point. So I've always had a passion for being a lawyer. That's my other calling in life that I just didn't go with. And then passing the bar exam in the United States is kind of hard compared to being a lawyer here, where you just like, right? Anyway, so, and then my partner, who's the actual attorney. I'm the spokesperson, and we have two attorneys. The main attorney was my partner. We have a junior attorney that speaks English, French, and he has helped me through so many legal problems, and other friends of mine here all the years, my divorce, people don't realize, imagine this, you're in a foreign country, right? And you're married, right? But you never really feel protected by your wife, and even though you know the culture, the language a little bit, and everything like that, you're sailing on the Dominican Ocean by yourself, and then all of a sudden, like, you're hanging out in your house after you separated with your wife, you don't know what's going on, and then this guy knocks on your door, and he serves you with papers, and it's all official with the security guard from Punta Cana village, where I live, Alguacil, and they give you the paper, and you're like, oh my God, court. And I don't know if any of you guys have ever been to Dominican court. It's some shit you see in the movies that looks like some real third world. Like, you get up, you don't know if you're getting locked up. You don't know. I didn't do anything, but that doesn't mean anything.
Right.
Like, it's very, especially like anyway here where I went the first time. It's very like it's very, if you don't have like a heart of steel and you're like, I don't care, man. You don't know the laws. You don't know the procedures. You don't understand anything. So he's been my right hand man for 7 years. Since 2017. He always helps me out. He's helped out my friends. So I have this experience, right? So even though I'm not an attorney, and I don't like giving, I'll talk to you like legal advice as a friend, but I always say, talk to the attorney first. I could be wrong, right? I could just tell you based on my experience, but there's sometimes the little things like, well, no, Mario, in your case, what happened? They said A, and that's why that happened. If somebody says B, then you got to go a different way. Okay. But I've had a lot of legal experience owning the company here, because this is a very litigious society, this country. People don't realize that, right? But like, my girlfriend's mom had a partner just right now on the way here to do the podcast with you, and had a partner who bought like 2 things to the business, whatever, did a verbal agreement. The lady left because she sucked. I don't know what happened. And then sued for like nothing. They sued for like $1 million pesos or whatever. Here, people sue for anything and everything. And if you are a foreigner, if you have a property that you own, if you have a car that you own, if you're just not like a backpacker, right? They will come for you any chance they get. He looked at me wrong. I want $1 million pesos, So you have to understand the laws of how things work here. And I've learned a lot about insurance also, which is the next step that I'm going to get into, but that takes a little bit of time. Like a lot of people don't know today, there's a 500 peso policy that I add on to my full coverage to my car, which covers me up to 5 million in case somebody gets hit, I hit somebody hits me from the back and says that I ruined their life, and they try to sue me for more than the policy of my car. I actually have an additional 5 million on top of that. So I've learned all these things, legal and everything, through experience. So I definitely enjoy this. And as you know, I'm super pro expat, not just here in DR, but I'm pro expat, I've learned a lot over the years living in Latin America, and I travel to Panama. I'm a Panamanian resident. I go to Colombia a lot, and I've kind of learned a pattern of how we are seen and everything like that. So I've become very, very pro expat, because somebody's got to do it, right? And I love helping people in the legal aspect of it. It boils my blood when I see like, I was pulled over in the roundabout in front of Jumbo in Puerto Plata because one light was out. They wanted to take my car. No, they legally can't do that, and they're taking advantage of you because you don't know the law and maybe don't speak the language. So every time I see that, I'm like, come on, man. I love being able to legally help people get out of issues and out of problems. So it's a passion. It's not just like a business that I opened up because, hey, if I want to do that, I'll sell cars. I don't know. I can do a lot of different things for money, right? But it's not for the money that I'm doing it. I really, really want to help people in the legal aspect. And if anyone's ever dealt with lawyers in this country, it is horrendous. Mm-hmm. They literally take your money and just disappear. They'll take your initial money and they'll just leave you hanging.
Right. Have you ever been arrested in this country?
Yes. I don't want to say the word arrested. I was detained for being on the beach during COVID. So we were in Bávaro Beach, and I was staying in Playa Turquesa, which is a condo right on the beach, and it had right before, now and before, it has a restaurant. So part of the place is a restaurant, right? And, you know how things are here. Today it's gray, but tomorrow gray's not okay. Mm-hmm. So it was Semana Santa, man, during the pandemic. We're on the beach. It was just us that lived there, Dominicans and expats that lived there during the pandemic. Nobody was on vacation. So we're there, we're drinking, and we're having fun, Semana Santa. The Tuesday, I think, or Monday after like Semana Santa or whatever, I'm sitting there in a chair, just me and my shorts, my beach shorts, on the property of the condo that's closed, right? And all of a sudden, like, a cop comes up with his coronel or whatever, and he's like, "You're being detained." I'm like, "For what?" He's like, you're on the beach and it's toque de queda, he's telling me whatever. I'm like, yeah, but I'm on private property here. I'm like on the condo, even though I'm on the beach, I'm on the condo where I live. I live right here.
Yeah.
He was like, there is no private property during the pandemic, and you got to go. So they took a whole bunch of us in the back of the pickup truck, like you see they do it everybody here. They took us to the jail cell. I have videos, I have photos of that actually. I kept my camera in there, so I have it with a whole bunch of guys in the cells and everything. We look like crazy Russian and Dominican hitmen and everything because I have no shirt on. These guys have no. We got picked up on the beach. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm the only one that had the phone, so I had them calling their families to tell them where they're at to pick them up, and they just let us go like at 4:00. They're like, "No beach." Okay, commando. Yeah.
Yeah, I
So that was
appreciate
pretty
that.
much it. That's my story.
That's one experience I don't want to have to go through down here. That's for sure. So I'll do everything. But yeah, I got a buddy.
You ever get detained? I'll give you a tip. You ever get detained here? Have somebody bring you Prodome. You know what Prodome is?
No. You mean
Prodome is-
tequila?
No, Prodome is like you get it from the pharmacy. It's the pill you take when you have diarrhea, so it keeps you from shitting. So make sure you take that, because once you see the bathrooms in the jails here, you don't want to go to the bathroom. Have them give you a couple of those, and you just won't shit for like a week.
I got a buddy down here, thank God, and I don't. If I ever get in trouble, I'll be calling him. I won't be calling a lawyer, because he's just a really connected kid, beautiful kid, big smile. Like, what is it with the Dominican guys? Their smile lights up the street down here. It's amazing how friendly these guys' faces are. They smile at you for no reason. Remember, I get in gas, I pull up, a guy passes me on a bike, and I'm like, is he laughing in my face? No, he's just happy. And I'm like, there's no SSRIs down here. They don't take the happy after breakup pill. That's not even a thing down here. You think about what a pill popping society North America is, and they just seem so happy. I go down to my moto coach. Well, my moto coach, Ricardo, down at the bottom of the hill, trustworthy guy, great guy, speaks English, been one of my best friends since I lived here. And one day I walk up, he's got his arm around a guy, and they're just busting balls. You can tell, the mannerisms. You can, even though I'm learning the language, there's so much you pick up with the mannerisms and the voice inflection, just the way these guys are operating with each other, and they're just razzing the hell out of each other. And so I ask, after he leaves, I go, "Hey, Ricardo, you know this guy a long time?" "No, I just met him." "You just met him?" "Yeah, he just pulled up. He was asking me blah blah blah." And these guys were acting like they've been friends forever. It's an amazing culture shock down here. A pleasant one for me.
Well, it's also a Caribbean thing. I don't know if people are like that. When I think about it, Panama, they're much more serious. When I go to Panama, they're just, nice, but very professional. And I find, so I'm a lot like that because I've been in the culture so long and I've been here so long. And I find it weird because I found them the most weird in Panama. Panamanians are fairly dry. They're like Costa Ricans, right? Very nice people, very straight to the point, professional and everything. But they're not there for the chercha, as we call it, right? So I'm very like, hey, blah, 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 blah. In the store, I start talking to everybody. I can start talking to cashiers. It's just my way. My business partner in New York hates it. He's just like, oh, God, shut up already. So what do you call it? But what I found is that that's a Caribbean thing a lot. Even like I have to reflect the Medellin. Medellin's very nice and everything, but they're not as like, yo. And then I have, obviously, like 95% of my friends here are Dominican. So when we hang out, that's all it is. Everybody's joking, smiling, telling a story about this, bringing that up, that thing in the news. It's always like everybody's laughing. Everybody's like joyous. It's not like a sad thing. You know what I mean? It's like, or it's nothing like serious. Like the conversation that we have when we're hanging out, it's always like just chercha. We're not chercha, tú sabes. Like it's just we're having a good old time, busting balls and just having fun, talking about everything, laughing at that thing on the news, laughing about that thing or whatever. That's just Caribbean culture, I think,
Awesome. I'm coming down and see you end of July. I'm going to stay in the place that you recommended. I found a little place, Airbnb on the beach. But give me your forecast. They're building like crazy in Sosúa. I know you know a little bit about the North Coast, and I call it small town Dominican Republic because all down the North Coast, it doesn't matter where you go, it's all small town. And I'm a small town guy. I liked hanging out in the big cities. They were great to visit, but I've always been a country boy, small town kid. You know what I mean? Even in St. Catharines, one of the biggest cities in the Niagara region, it's 150,000 people. It's pretty much a small town. So for all the building they're doing on here, and I've seen it all over the world in different spots and different times, decades and stuff like that, where they just built the shit out of it, and then the buyers went away, and the glut was there, and the properties crashed, and everyone got stuck holding the bag. If they had to sell, they took a beating. So how do you see the development of the North Coast, and do you think there's a risk that they're overbuilding?
Well, there's a risk of overbuilding everywhere. And the thing is this, every time I talk to you and every time I do my videos and stuff, I always talk about location, which is the first thing you learn when you start real estate, right? Now, if we think about it, things that are in a good location, and you know the North Coast better than I do, they're fared fairly well, right? Now, if something happens in the worldwide market like 2008, that's like, okay, all rules out the window, everybody got screwed everywhere. You know what I mean? It's all fair in love and war when it comes to that, right? That's different. But when we're talking about the market right now in a country that's building so much, yes, you can have, we have that in Punta Cana. We have A, B, C properties, and there's so much overbuilding, and there are a lot of places that are vacant. Now, you have to look at who bought and why they bought, right? Now, if you buy prime property, then you're going to do well. You're going to rent it well, especially during the high season. You might do well long term, depending on, when I was in La Mulata and I lived there, right? In that building, a lot of people like to be there long term because of the pool, close to everything. It was nice. So you have to look at what your property that you're buying and why. And yes, there are B and C properties that will not do well. And I was talking to a client that came into my office today, right? Some things, even though they might be a good location, I heard this a long time ago in the stock market. The stock market, unless you're trading penny stocks, right? You buy to hold, okay? Expect 5-10 years, a lot of people I feel bought coming out of COVID. Okay, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to sell it for 2-3 times more. And now they finally give it to them. And like, what do you mean? I can't sell it for 2-3 times more? The market's bad. Well, yeah, but you're ODing, buddy. You're overdoing it right now. You bought a place for $250 and you're trying to sell it for $400. No, maybe it's worth $275, or maybe it's worth the same $250, $275, $290, $300. It didn't lose value, but it's not where you wanted it to be. And the developer sold it to you, tal. And that goes back to having a real broker that doesn't just open a door or show you a thing. Look, this is so nice. You sign here now. That tells you, look, these are the pros and cons in that area. When you sit down with me and you talk to me, I talk to you and I'm like, do you want to live here? Do you want to Airbnb, that dreaded word that's getting me tired already? Do you want to long-term rent it? What do you want to do with the property so we can identify the area that's good for you? Then we identify the projects that are of value. There are a lot of properties here that are value, but there are also a lot that are not. And we see this in Santo Domingo. Santo Domingo did so much building that I've seen the prices level off on Airbnb. I've seen the sales prices on units level down. Now, has the market crashed? Because I know you have the ghouls and goblins on Facebook. It's going to crash. No, but it's just leveling. We're constantly leveling here. We're going up, we level a little bit, we go up, we level. But you're not going to see an apartment that was $250. Okay, maybe it went down to $200 now, right? But the person bought it for $150. So they bought it for $150. It was once worth $250. June of 2022, we started to change, and now it's worth 200, whatever. It's still maintaining or up. It's just not at that over projection before. Remember, we're on the delay with what happens in the United States, right? So definitely, Sosua everywhere, Santo Domingo everywhere. But now you could talk about sub areas, right? We have sub markets, right? Like in Santiago, you have like Trinitaria. Trinitaria is un pedacito, like a little thing up there, super ultra luxury. That's going to maintain because you got 1 square kilometer, and that's everything, right? And that's because of that. In Sosua, let's say, for example, Cabarete, if you've got a complex where they built, maybe Sosua Ocean Village, I use it as an example, where they built, they've been building since I was there in 2017, and I think they still have room to build. Well, then you have to look at that, and you have to make sure you're buying something of value, or that your project that you're buying is different. If they're building all apartments and you buy some really nice townhouses with a roof deck and your own little pool in the back, that's a unique product, right? While everybody else was building apartments. So now you can say, well, that's worth me buying here because I have for my lifestyle, for the rental market, short-term and long-term, I'm offering a different product. So there's a lot that goes into that. I think people sometimes don't think, Now, if you bought something in Playa Alicia that's on the beach right there overlooking it, that market better than I am. You can't duplicate that market. You can't duplicate on the cliff oceanfront apartment, right?
No, for sure.
Right. So that's going to be that. Whoever bought that is always going to do well long term because you can't build in front of him because you'd have to be a fish. You know what I mean? So with that being said, unless you're SpongeBob and you built in front of him, you have a value. But if there's more room to build, I know a lot of people bought in Perla Marina, and Perla Marina, the prices go all over the place. But when I was there, Perla Marina had a ton of lots. Sometimes some of them overpriced at that time. And then you might have overpriced lots now. So if they're still, you know it better than I don't know how much has been developed so far. But if they still have 70, 80, 90, 100, 120 lots in Perla Marina, if they can still extend it, I'm using it as an example, then you have to look at that and look at your product and see the value. And then you also have to look at the demand. Who's moving into your area? Where is their source of income? Are they retirees? That's the difference between small town, like you said, and here. Here we have a mix of retirees. We have executives. We have a trade-free zone that's coming here. We have all the executives for all the big chains of the resorts. And all those millions of people that you see flying into Punta Cana, 90% of them are coming into the resorts. So those guys are hiring people that make a lot of money on the high end of it, right, on the executive end, and those people are also buying and renting here. So you have to look at what your demographic is, who's going to rent your place, who's going to want to be in your place, and what's the maintenance for your place? Is it a value? Is there a reason why people want to be there? There are a lot of moving pieces to buying a piece of property. It's not just like, ooh, so pretty, I buy. I don't know why it didn't double in 2 years. Come on.
Well, what do you do? Are you mostly residential? Do you mess around with development land, or is there anything left in Punta Cana, or apartment buildings, or businesses, or hotels, or resorts, or anything like that? Or are you mostly just residential?
So I'm mostly residential. I do land. I have land, and there is land for sale. There's still land for sale, and when everything gets done here on this end of it, where we're at, like Punta Cana, Bávaro, they're gonna keep building up. They got new communities coming up behind the Moon Palace that's right next to the Hard Rock. They're building a massive tower hotel there. They're gonna keep building on the water going up. So we've got another couple of 100 years to build here. You know what I mean? If it took 50 years to build this, we got another 150 to build the whole coastline connecting with Miches. There's a lot going on. And then once you get past the Hard Rock, it looks like Puerto Plata here. You have the hills, the mountains and everything. It's gorgeous and it's clean, it's nice and everything. All those little pueblitos there going up and stuff like that, So we have enough to build. I basically do residential. Now, if somebody comes to me and says, I want not even 20, I'm joking. I want a $200 million hotel. I have the people that I can reach out to for that. But those things are very complicated. It's not like, oh, you want to see a $200 million hotel? All right, let's go down. Okay, this one's for sale here. You got to sign NDAs. It's very complicated. But I deal mostly with that, with land. And what I'm dealing with developers. I'm big into White Sands right now. I've got a couple of master brokerages there that I deal with, and it's a project that I like there. So I deal basically with Cap Cana up until White Sands. That's my main area of working.
Nice. I just had somebody that's looking for a business opportunity that bought something in Cap Cana, hasn't closed yet, but they're looking at ecotourism, so there's definitely a market for that here.
There is a market for ecotourism, but you have to also look. It's very easy to open up a business in this country. I know. It's also very easy to lose a lot of money. I know. And you have to look at what you're offering that's different than what exists here. What do people mean by ecotourism in Punta Cana? Punta Cana's flat. You're going to take people up to the mountains. You're going to take them to the charcos, and you're going to take them to all that stuff. But what else? There's already boogies. There's already bows. There's piscina natural. All that stuff's already here. It's saturated, right? Then you got to pay the hotels to get clients and stuff like that. Now, if you want to do ecotourism, go up towards Miches where you put nice cabanas, ranches, horseback riding and stuff like that. That's where you want to go up, my opinion, if you want to do ecotourism, not here in Punta Cana. You can shuttle people up. Obviously, you shuttle people up there, but you got to build it up there. You know what I mean? That's where I think is Montaña Redonda and all that stuff. Oh, it's nice, man. It's really beautiful up there going towards Miches. The minute you pass like Hard Rock going up, it's stunning. And that's where people should do it, But you have to be very careful and do your market research. And see how many people are in the area during the high season, during the low season. Can you survive the low season? There are a lot of moving factors to this.
What is your group, your expat group called? Is it Expats Living in the Dominican Republic?
Correct. That's the one that I manage. Correct.
Okay. I'm going to share our live. I don't do this. I don't know why my pride gets in the way all the time. Like, I'm a guy that, I'm a politician. I'm a 10-time candidate. That's all we did was try to make the news. You know what I mean? Like, and unfortunately, I made the news a couple different ways back in the day. But I don't know what it is about posting. I try not to post every day. And then today I post. It seems like my wheelhouse seems to be the cheap condos. That's what if you're under $80,000, you get all kinds of people calling and say, "Hey, what's this? What's this? What's this?" And I'm looking for clients, so I want to post things that get traction, right? So today I post, and how many guys come out and go, Sasua, it's $79,000. And they're going, oh, yeah, like dreamer, like I love I think it's interesting. And there's a certain guy that comes on your group that is always taking pictures of chicas, and I just come for the comments.
Oh yeah, that's the guy. Hilarious. That's the guy right there. He's hilarious.
Yeah. Anyways, I just posted our live interview on the group, see if we can get some traffic off it.
Awesome.
But we're on all the platforms now, on Twitter, DLive. We even started a Kick account. We got a couple different accounts on YouTube broadcasting live now, and 3 accounts on my on my fake book as well. So tell us about the open house, man. White Sands, it looks like a beautiful complex. What do you call them? Complexes, subdivisions? What are these things, these gated communities?
Gated complex. It's a gated complex with a private beach access there. And, White Sands is an area where took a hit 2018 like everywhere else. And, Punta Cana was not developed. So, we get a lot of shit on the groups when we say Punta Cana. Everybody's like, there's nothing there. And I can tell who hasn't been here in many, many decades, because at one point there was really not much here. It was a small town here, right, around resorts. But that's all changed. And now we have at least 16 developers inside of White Sands. There's still more land to be built there. They're coming into their own right now because of all the developers. They're opening up the 9-hole golf course, glow in the dark putting at night and stuff like that. Deli market, bar, it's hitting its prime right now. And if anybody knows me, look, I understand not everybody has a budget for buying access to the beach, but a lot of times access to the beach is more affordable than you might think. That's one thing. But I am huge in Punta Cana on access to the beach. You guys on the North Coast have more public beaches where people can kind of just go and hang out. We don't have that. The public beach access points in Punta Cana, I'm the first to tell you, I live here, but they're a joke. They're like little side streets, alleyways that you're getting into. So if you're not buying beachfront, if you can't walk to one of those public accesses in Corrales Cordecito, you should have some form of beach access, because there's so much building here. And I was explaining this to a client of mine, right? This is how the market is. I'll show you my hands. Like, this is how we do it here, right? It's like we had this many people, right? We had these many apartments, and then we started getting this many people. Now we got this many apartments and only this many people. So you're constantly expanding. You're trying to catch up with the flow, and then you overexpand. And then everything kind of sits for a while, and then it goes back to more people coming in, because the more tourism we get in resorts, the more people decide eventually to come and stay in Airbnbs, the more they fall in love with the country, and the more they want to buy here. So it's a process. It's a road that people go down. We know that because we've seen how it works, right? So what ended up happening is White Sands was kind of stagnant for a while, and it has this hardcore people like White Sands, because White Sands is close to everything, but you can actually sleep at night and not have to listen to bars, to all the ruckus in the streets, to the resorts, clubs, and stuff like that. So it's close but quiet, right? But close to everything. So now with everything that's going there, it went great. I mean, the open house was fantabulous. We sold a couple of properties. The main point of my open house was to reintroduce people to White Sands, and that it has the beach access and where it's located and all the new things. They have a new clubhouse they want to do there, Olympic pool. It's going to be great. So I'm a firm believer in beach access, and I promote properties that have beach access. You come to me and say, look, I want to buy this on the other side of the highway. Okay, my guys will help you do that if that's what you're looking for. But if you ask me, what do you think, Mario? Beach access. Anything else? You know what I mean? Like, because that's how Punta Cana is built, and that's what's going to be value. And I'm talking about, don't ask me about, that's a different conversation. What can I buy and flip for 50,000, 100,000 more? That's a whole nother thing. That's luck or whatever. I'm telling you what you can buy, hold, that's going to bring value, one. Two, bring joy to you. Because if you're going to use the property, I like the beach. If not, I'll sell you something anyway. I'll include a free horse in there and everything. I don't care. You know what I mean? You could be out there and you can drive an hour to the beach here, 45 minutes when there's no traffic, and you'll get it for a lot cheaper. If you're in Punta Cana, you should have beach access or be able to walk to the beach. Otherwise, vamos para Santiago.
What are some of the infrastructure projects that are committed to, or even in the idea phases, that you're interested in or excited about?
Here, I would say there's a design district coming here. Downtown is going to be like Orlando eventually. They're going to build a lot right now. They built a lot. It's empty kind of right now because it's in that phase where, like, who wants to be there? A lot of units built. But the plan that they have for downtown is going to be basically the epicenter of the Caribbean, meaning malls, shopping, cafes, restaurants. They have a massively aggressive plan that they're going to do here. Build it and they will come. So that's going to be, I believe that that's why I bought my office downtown Punta Cana. Downtown Punta Cana is going to be the epicenter of the Caribbean as far as just
really?
Everything. I'm not talking about beach life. I'm talking about everything, like just shops, offices, doctors' offices, cafes, restaurants, condominiums, communities. They're building all the way to Cabeza del Toro. They're doing a golf course there because they just bought it from Catalonia. All that stuff's going to be one interconnected giant hub of the Caribbean and Latin America. So that's what I think. I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the train. That it's a private project, because I know we're going to get a lot of comments. Listen, if it was a government project, I would say the same thing. I don't even have faith the water's wet sometimes, But it's a private project, and they're doing phase one, Santo Domingo to Santiago, phase two, Santo Domingo to Punta Cana. But they said they're going to do phase two before phase one, which why wouldn't you call that phase one then? If it's the first part. But I'm super excited because Santo Domingo connected with Punta Cana with a train with 58 minutes from Santo Domingo here with stopovers in San Pedro, La Romana, Higüey, and then getting here. And then you connect Santiago to that. That's it. That's like that. When that happened, it's like there's a show like on TV, like one of like the talk shows, with the judge and everything in Spanish. Caso cerrado. Yeah, case closed. When that happens, that's gonna be the boom that we're waiting for here. They said they're gonna build it all over the country. It's gonna connect the North Coast, Monte Cristi, and all that. And then another thing I've heard there might be an international airport coming to Monte Cristi. The power plant is up. A whole bunch of resorts signed on to some big stuff there. So
Really?
if anybody wants to know something that nobody knows about, Monte Cristi might just be. If it happens, remember I said it first.
And you can't get beat for insider trading with just a little bit of knowledge about new developments coming. That's what realtors get paid to do. You got to know where it's happening so you can, plan your clients to plant them early. And you're right, it's a buy and hold game. Anybody that thinks they're going to buy and flip properties, even in North America, it's a tough racket, man. You got to steal the stuff in the beginning. You got to make sure that everything goes as planned, and your contractor doesn't rape you on the way. And then you got to get lucky on the sale time when you're punting it. You got to find a good buyer. So yeah, it's a lot easier than it sounds, I think, flipping properties for sure. I've done it a couple times, but for the time that it took me away from real estate, my mother said when she was a manager at Remax, manager of the year a couple times over at Remax Garden City, she said, just go sell a couple more houses. I mean, you would have made more selling a couple more houses, and you probably lost 6 deals doing this flip. So keep your head in the game.
I'd rather build here than do that. You know what I mean? Have a builder to build it for me. Be like it's called promotora. I don't know if you know the difference between a builder and a promotora.
I don't.
So a builder is the guy that actually hires the workers. He's there. He builds. The promotora is like, I'll give you an example. Let's say I buy a piece of land right now. So I buy, 2,000 square meters and I want to build 5 townhouses on it, right? So I hire the builder. The builder charges me a per square meter price to build. And then I sell it at market value. So I am the developer, but I'm not the actual builder. I'm the promotora. So I'm kind of like an intermediary. I'm the one that gives it to the broker. I pay them the commission. I do everything, but I actually subcontract the builder, because it makes no sense for me to hire a whole bunch of team, pay him taxes, to hire them, liquidate them when I'm done with this project. So I don't know when my next project's coming along. You understand? And also for tax purposes, for many different purposes, it's much better for me to hire one company that just builds. That's all they do is build.
Gotcha, man. What else are you working on these days? You must have been really busy. I know these open houses are a lot of work, throwing a party and organizing it and all that kind of stuff and getting invites out and stuff like that. So now that that's behind you, what are you concentrating on?
Another one for Labor Day weekend. I want to do another one. We're going to continue to do them in White Sands. We have a lot of great products coming there, and developers are going to keep developing there. So I want to make this a quarterly thing, just because I had so much fun. We do sales. We introduce new people to the project. So I'm definitely working on that right now. I actually was just in the studio today. I'm working on securing 2 hours. I want to do every 2 weeks. I want to do a podcast, the Mario FamaRD podcast, real estate, DR life, everything out of an actual studio with the big TVs, kind of like those guys that know Alofoque is here in this country. And obviously it's not going to be PC, so if you're woke, you might not like me, but they already don't like me anyway. So the same people that don't like me on Facebook, you're not going to like me anyway. But you'll find information there, so don't worry about it. But so I'm working on actually launching the Mario FamaRD. Every 2 weeks I'm going to do it and see how that goes from the actual studio. And yeah, just a lot, man. The law firm has been also we started in February, I think it was, and it's just been doing fantabulous. We have the main attorney, the junior attorney, a lot of people calling, a lot of clients. It's growing. I could definitely see this growing into a big firm. Our next office, we have Punta Cana, we have Santo Domingo. Our next office is going to be probably in Sosua, and then Las Terrenas, because we want to spread out throughout. We help Dominicans, we help everybody. Obviously, we're in the Dominican Republic. My partner's Dominican, right? But the basis of this company was the reason I called it DR Legal Shield. I wasn't aware of Legal Shield, whatever, in the States. I just wasn't, because I'm from New York. Nobody uses crap like that. Like, we all have real attorneys because you can't use
Right.
like that's a thing. It's a thing. It's a gimmick, right?
Uh-huh.
You don't use a gimmick in New York if you got a legal problem, buddy. You get a real bona fide lawyer. I wasn't aware of that, so I just came up with DR Legal Shield because the way I got that in my head was the shield protecting the expats from all the crazy shit that happens here, all the people trying to take advantage. It's happened to me. I've seen it happen to many people. I remember one time I got hit in the back here right before the pandemic, and it was bullshit. I was trying to sue the guy because he wouldn't pay my deductible or whatever, and I just didn't do anything wrong. And my partner now, he's in Santo Domingo. I didn't want to bother him, so I went to a local lawyer and I gave him like 10,000, 15,000 or whatever to sue the guy. I was just doing it to be a dick because I didn't do anything wrong, and the guy was just he had no insurance, no driver's license, paid off the cops, and didn't want to give me my thing. I was like, I don't want my insurance going up, and the guy just disappeared with my money. So I know I'm not only part owner, but I'm also a client. You know what I mean? I'm constantly having issues that I have to deal with. They stole my Volvo. I had a Volvo. People know I had a Volvo. The dealer stole my Volvo. I'm still in court right now, almost 2 years later, trying to get the rest of my money. They owe me $10,000. They stole my car, and I have the title still. And if he crashes that car, it's my problem because it's under my name.
No shit. Wow.
He's not even supposed to be driving it. So I'm also a client. People have to understand
Right.
the birth of this law firm came from me being a client, and every time I have to sue somebody, every time they steal my commission, because there are no laws here. The developer pays whoever shows up at the office, and then they're like, well, you figure it out with the guy who stole your money. I mean, I've been robbed at least 100, 150 grand over the last 5 years in commissions here. Every time I see I tell people the licensing part affects me more than you. You guys got a license. That doesn't mean he's a good agent. But the guy's got a license. I can do something about it right now. I got to take him to court. And you know what? When it's not criminal, when it's civil, in the case where it's civil, where they didn't actually physically steal the money, where it's just like abuso de confianza, they go to court for 3-4 years. I took somebody to court. They admitted in front of the judge that that they took the money. And the judge was like, come on, it was $500. Just case dismissed. Nobody has to pay anybody's lawyer's fees. A year and a half, 2 years, that person said, yeah, I took the money because lied about having some other office debts or whatever the case was. No proof, nothing. Yeah, I took the money. Yeah. I have no hair. I'm prepared for DR.
Beautiful.
You should have a thing like when you get to the airport, do you want to do business in the Dominican Republic? Yes, I do. Okay, so we've got a barber here. He's going to just cut your hair right off. We're going to get that out of the way for you real quick.
Yeah, so you don't have to pull it out slowly in patches, one by one.
It's part of the package. You want to open up an SRL? Okay, we're going to charge you this, and there's a $500 haircut fee.
Yeah. What do you think the future organized real estate's going to be? Are they going to organize? Are they going to legislate licensing, or are we ever going to get an MLS system?
Okay, so I will tell you, because I don't know if you've seen my pictures with the association. I have had numerous meetings with them, and I'm still working on my cellular because my thing's a shit show. I did it with 2 different passports for different papers. I got impatient and I screwed myself up. But here's the problem, right? Here's the problem. I'm intimately involved in this, right? Like speaking to the people about what they want to do. And here's where the problem. They're going to create if they do create a licensing, they're going to create an us versus them break in the real estate market here, and it's not going to be pretty, I don't think, and not in a physical sense, I mean in a business sense, because they require that you have a residency or permanent residency. Like right now, I think it's permanent residency to be able to have a license in the Dominican Republic.
Ouch.
So what happens to all the expats that don't have residency, that work as agents and as broker owners? But wait, there's more. Here's the legal concept of it, right? You're legally allowed to open up an SRL and register it as a real estate company.
Okay.
You're legally allowed to collect taxes and pay them. But then this association, which doesn't really have any, the only thing they can do is say, oh, they're not part of their association. I don't know if they get for right now. If they mandate by law that you need to do that, then it's like you can open up. So then what do you do? Do you take away the right to open that kind of SRL, like a liquor license, to the expats? And then what do you do with the expats that already have it and don't have their residency, don't qualify, can't get it, or don't want it? What do? Do you grandfather them? Do they not? You understand what I mean? It's a very sticky situation. Is it going to – that's not MLS. That's licensing. That's 2 different things. People don't understand. An MLS is not going to come here. And I'll explain to you why MLS is not going to come here. MLS, and you and I both know, works. Hi, my name is Mario. I got your apartment as an exclusive. I'm the only one allowed to advertise it. Everybody else can show it. And then if you're Zillow, you just run the market like a scam artist. And you skim
off the top.
No, you charge – They charge people. No, they charge you. So this is how Zillow, all these big American companies
Right.
work. You pay. I want $1,000 to have 10% of this zip code, and you pop up on somebody else's listing, and the person doesn't know. He thinks you're the one who captured it, and they reach out to you. You know how many times in New York I'd be sitting there in the lobby, and the client shows up, and he doesn't even know who he's meeting? Because he got the guy from Zillow, Truly, all these different websites all across the country, right? So to me, that's not ethical. In the United States, the Department of State should have stepped in and protected the consumers from doing that. They let a corporation take over, break all of the rules. Meanwhile, they want to make rules for us as the agents. Now, an MLS works in the matter that you exclusively could only put one up. That's not going to happen because that's not how it works in this country. So what's MLS in essence? It is a website where everybody puts up everything 10 million times over and over again, right? Point two homes is stopping here. So now the question is another question, but everybody's going to try to do one. But I'm going to tell you right now, most people are not going to succeed. Maybe somebody will. It's very difficult. I understand this. Let me decline this because I don't know. What do you call it? It's very, It's very difficult to do it. And the reason I say this, I worked with Agent Folio and Bifolio, which is basically Alter State right now. When they were in development, before they sold to Zillow, before Susan Daimler became a CEO of Zillow and sold her product to them. I was a manager for Marone Properties in Manhattan. You can look it up. Marone Properties, New York City, East Village, 90 East 10th Street. I used to manage that firm. And I worked with other like Rent Hop, all these different apps that you have before they Street Easy, before they sold to Zillow. And when they were starting with all these apps, they used to come to our office because we were a cool mid-sized firm. They would host parties for us. And then I would do like free consulting for them, right? So with that being said, I know what it takes for an app to work, for a website to work, and most people do not have it. Now, I'm also not going to give you that information for free. You know what I mean? What's in it for me? I'm not sitting there trying to develop anybody's website and give them the tips that's going to make them rich, and I don't get my richness out of it. I'm done helping people. I've done that many years over and whatever, but I'm telling you, MLS website, that's the last thing you need to worry about here. A website like Point Two Homes, maybe that has all the properties. Okay, cool. You know, there's already a Dominican one, supercasas.com. You know what I mean? They have a lot of properties in supercasas.com. Not all of them, but a lot. You know, you can go to Corotos, you can go to all these different places. And MLS is the last thing you'll ever get in this country because that requires think about it from no licensing to only everybody has to be they can't force you in this country, right to work. You can't be forced to be like, oh, you guys have to get exclusives. Everybody has to give an exclusive to everybody. That's the way it's going to work from now on. No, you can't do that. So without that, you can't do MLS. So forget about MLS. But they're working on getting licensing. They've been working on that for a while, and it is going to exclude every person who does not have a cedula or at least a permanent or at least some kind of cedula. So that's going to create expats versus locals. And then you know what expats are going to say? They want to cut us out of it because they want to sell to you. They don't want us telling you the truth, right? And then that's going to create that rift, and it's going to create expats versus locals, which should not happen. We're all here to work together. The good, and we should be working on expelling the bad, not dividing people, whether they're locals or expats. You're here, you pay your taxes, you have a corporation, you are good with impuestos internos. That's what matters, not that, because that's not the way that it was set up. If you want to do that, you have to have a transition period, speak to the government, allow a special residency for people who open up an SRL and invest in an office and do what they do. Not just kind of like, I'm going to cut you off right now. Good luck, sink or swim. That's not fair. That's not right, because we are responsible for trillions of dollars of investments in this country in real estate. I mean, think about it. Between the entire Dominican Republic, how many U.S. and Canadian passport holders purchased property, cars, goods, services, all tied into the real estate market, whether you're renting or buying, right? Right. Every month, this country is at a fair somewhere, Spain, Miami, Colombia, Argentina, inviting everybody to come here and invest. So we should be allowed to be part of that entire thing as well. You know what I mean? Because you're asking expats to come here. You're asking Colombians. You're asking, Venezuelans. You're asking Bolivians. I don't know. You're asking Miami. You're asking Mexicans. You're asking everybody to come here. But then we can't come and get a special residency for that. I don't consider that fair. You know what I mean? And then also, there's another problem which I've expressed in private, and I'll say it. You have people that are part of this association that want to talk about, we need licenses, we need ethics. You're the same company who does not co-broke with other brokers and keeps everything in-house and doesn't want to share. The first pillar of ethics in real estate, co-broke. I do not respect, and I do not like to talk to, and I don't even like to look at brokers who don't co-broke and split 50-50 their commission, because the buyer has the right to choose you, and you can show my property. He has a right to choose me, and I show your property. The seller gets serviced this way correctly. The buyer gets serviced correctly. You shouldn't be forced to deal with that brokerage because he has the listing and he's greedy and he doesn't want to co-broke his. But then he'll call me and want to co-broke my property. That is the first pillar. If you fail on the first pillar of your construction, your entire house has crumbled. Don't talk to me about ethics at that point.
Mm-hmm. Well, most of the agents that I've dealt with down here, at least the decent agents, and you've heard me use Joanne Hammond as an example, are realtors in other countries.
Joanne's amazing.
And you always know when you're talking to a realtor that's never held a license before, never practiced real estate or been licensed in another country or whatever. I mean, there's obviously some good local guys here, and they know the ins and outs of the local economy and projects and all that kind of stuff. Yes, but I wonder if the public picks up on it. They must. When you don't have a trained agent and you go into negotiations and they don't have any strategy for you, or they're blabbing what really gets me is there's no client confidentiality. So if Bob is sick and he needs to dump his property quick and move to the States, the 10 agents that take his property are blabbing it all over I try to tell my guys, listen, you got a situation here, nobody needs to know about it. And you know how you secure that? With one agent that is the guardian of all the information that goes out. And everyone that gets information has to come through me. But it's not a popular concept down here, exclusivity. So good luck with that.
It's starting to become a little bit more, right? And I think that what happens is, and I'll tell you why it's very hard. We're on the path to that, right? I think we'll see more and more, not necessarily everywhere, but we will see more and more exclusivity as time goes on because some people are realizing this. But what holds us back from this, right, is, and excuse my Francois, the piece of shit agents who do not co-broke and who do not split the commission at least 50-50. I pay 50-50. All the good agents pay 50-50. And if we're master brokers, we pay out more than 50-50. That's how master brokerages work, because you negotiate a different commission with the seller and you're able to offer more than, a better commission for the rest of the brokerage community. Those people, again, this is why I talk about the pillar. That one pillar, the greediness of that one pillar and those kind of people hold all of us back, because it is a very well-known fact, and it is all through the expat. No, these brokers don't want to co-broke, and I have seen, brokers I know that other brokers have shown me their text messages in private where they're like, what are you offering me? Because if you don't give me this, I'm going to take them somewhere else. When I see that, it enrages me. I have 30 years of doing this. I'm licensed in New York City. I'm probably going to get my license next year in Miami, and I'm definitely getting my license in Panama, where I'm a resident as well. And so with that being said, as a career real estate professional, when I see that, it makes me sick to my stomach, and those people are responsible for that because the people are scared. Hey, I'm in Spain. I'm in Canada. I'm in New York City. I give it to you, and now you're hoarding my listing, trying to keep the entire commission and not co-broking it with the entire community, and you're hurting me, so I have to give it to everybody else because I can't trust anybody because your reputation is so bad. Because yes, there are people like that, and those people should be weeded out, and they should be pointed at, and they should be ostracized, I don't know if that's the word, out of our community. There's a lot of stuff that happens that's unethical. People being forced into exclusive contracts, telling them you have buyers, that you have this and that. Then they sign an exclusive, and then the buyer disappears, and then charging people if they want to get out of a contract with you, an exclusive contract. I don't charge people. The only time you should charge a person is if you're staging the property, or if you say, hey, look, I'm going to pay for pictures, professional pictures. I'm going to do this. It's explicitly written in the contract. If you choose to cancel the contract, the exclusive contract, before X time, then you owe me this much for what I paid for, and I will hand this over to you as you're paying for it. That's the ethical way to do it. There's so much ways of unethicalness in real estate here, and it hurts all of us. And that's what bothers me. And those people should be pointed out. Nothing's perfect. Look, and I'm not talking about like buyers. You're not going to get along with all your buyers. I fire buyers all the time. I teach my agents, if you're not getting along with the person, fire them. That person might not like me. They might say Mario's a jerk, or Mario didn't show me what I want, because I see what they're looking for one way. They see it a different way. Go find another broker. We're not talking about disagreements, and we're not talking about stuff like that. We're talking about pure unethical practices that we see here. Like you said, telling a person this, and now if the person wants you to tell it, then that's different. Hey, this is a fire sale. He needs to move. And that happens sometimes. Some people really need to they tell them, I'll do whatever. Just, I need to get rid of it. Then they're authorizing you to do that. But those kind of things come from you being a professional in this business. Those of us that have been doing this our entire lives, the code of ethics, I don't need you to give it to me. I don't need to sign it. I don't need an association. This is how I do my business. This is how I live. 30 years living like this. Doing the right thing is a matter of internal ethics. You know, that's what I feel like. I don't know if necessarily in the United States, let's say people are ethically better, but I think the laws and the regulations keep them within a guideline. Here, because you have the freedom to be an asshole, people do whatever they want to do and there's no repercussion to it. You know what I mean? And that just shows our nature that most people are bad. That's why we do need some form of licensing. I am all for licensing. I think it should be $1,000 for a license. What do you call it? Like 55,000 pesos for a license as an agent. I think it should be 200,000 pesos as a broker. That's what I think. To have a brokerage, I think that you should come in and have to work as an agent maybe for 2 years like you do in the United States. And before a broker signs off that you've done enough transactions to do it, I think that definitely needs to be checks and balances here to protect the consumers. And change laws that the developers could only pay the company that's registered for the sale, that has a RNC, that shows at the time of the contract that they're up to date with their taxes and everything like that. Those are the things that we need to focus on, not the division between expat and local.
Amen, brother. We're talking a lot of inside baseball. I feel like I'm interviewing a real estate broker and just talking to agents here. Before we shift off that, though, and I'd like to get to, actually, let's hit that now. Tell me a little bit about why you're here, and you're New York City, born and raised, well, practically.
No, not born here.
But, and then you made the decision to come here. I mean, I miss nothing of home. A couple restaurants, a couple of my buddies, my family, obviously. But anyone I talk to from back home is like, Jimmy, you're not missing a thing. Like, it's so crazy. And Canada's not much different than the States, I guess, in some ways. But, tell me a little bit about the culture, the life, and why you made the Dominican Republic the place that, you spend most of your time, and you've anchored a business in, and you're, recruiting agents and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, so basically, I was born in Romania, moved to New York City in 1983, and raised in New York City. Raised with Latinos most of my life. I grew up in Astoria, across the street from the housing projects. So I've had a mix of everything in my entire life. I've grown up with everything, right? And I don't know if you know, but Queens, New York City is the most diverse county in the entire planet. If you're from a tiniest country in the world, you have a square kilometer in Queens that you have your restaurant, your deli, your people, and everything like that. So I've grown up with everything: Puerto Rican, Dominican, Guyanese, wave your flag, wave your rock, jump on a big truck. I mean, Jamaicans. I met my Puerto Rican baby mama at a Jamaican reggae dancehall party at the Ukrainian center that was rented out to the Jamaicans in the East Village.
Nice.
That's where I met my son's mom. So I mean, could you imagine? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, the diversity soup that I come from is unmatched in the world, I would say, because I'm from that I grew up with everything. Hip hop, I was there when reggaeton started, watching it General at a club, 15 years old. I was like, what's this new music? Freestyle was coming out. I was like, what the hell is this? Reggaeton, muévelo, muévelo. So I've been there with the culture from the beginning. It wasn't something
nice.
I moved to Queens from Romania. My next door neighbors were Puerto Ricans. I was like, Puerto Rico, what's that? You know what I mean? That was my first friends in the United States. My 2 kids are Puerto Rican. So I grew up with a bunch of Dominicans. I just kind of like gravitated towards that, with the music, the vibe, the people. Even my friends that I got from Colombia, they're like, yo, dude, could you stop being so damn Dominican? That's just how I've always been. The tight pants, as I started growing up. I mean, at one point we had a baggy, but what do you call it? But I grew up with that culture. So when I first came here, it was nothing new to me. I opened up my first real estate office 2004 in New York, went across the Liberty Travel, across Queens Boulevard, and I was like, I want to go on vacation to the Caribbean. I had recently discovered Florida and the Caribbean late in my life, in my mid-20s or whatever. So she was like, are you single or are you going with a girl? I was like, single. She was like, you're going to Puerto Plata. Because it was with a girl, you go to Punta Cana, single, you're going to Puerto Plata. I went and stayed in Playa Dorada, and I called up my boy from Santiago, from the block, because my other boy was like, oh, yeah, mira, this guy's over there. Call him. Hit him on BlackBerry. He was like, yo, te voy a recoger mañana. Came, got me, took me to Santiago. I spent a week in Santiago in 2004. You want to talk about the wild, wild west, buddy? I came back and I was like, this is real life? Like, no. The whole time I was there, I was like, is this actually happening? Is this like a movie? It was insanity. I can't even explain to you the fun that I had. Yeah, dude.
Even coming from New York, you were impressed with Santiago.
It was the most amount of, I mean, it literally, you want to do in life? And then, he introduced me to the car wash, the girls, this, all the, I mean, everything that was Santiago in 2004, typical parties. He took me to freaking Andy Ranch and all of that, and Querubanda, and I was like, yo! And because I grew up with that in New York, going to see the bachateros, the merengueros there at the events that we had. So when I got to come here and the stick of it, it was like this one white guy, and I didn't have the tattoos and none of that back then, but this little white blonde guy there in Andy Ranch, sitting there with my bottle of Hennessy with the guys, and I'm just like, yo, this is crack. I was like, I'm coming back, man. I came back with the boys after that, but they all had girlfriends and wives, so they couldn't keep coming back, but I don't pay attention to anybody. I'm a troublemaker. So I just kept coming back by myself. I opened up a bar in Santiago in 2010, and that was my first experience with dealing with people here and how business is. It opened up really good, but he was on some other shit. So I got my money out of it. I didn't lose any money on that one because we're from the same block, so that wasn't happening. I got a car out of it in New York and everything. And then, I just kept coming back by myself after that. I went to Costa Rica like 2 times by myself. I tried to look at other places. My boys were like, yo, you and your Dominican shit. They were like, yo, go try other countries. Went to Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico was a very close second for me to stay because I fly free into Puerto Rico, and I had a place to stay for free in Guaynabo, which is like Piantini there, really nice. But just the opportunity here of business, you can't compare, right? Because you can't do whatever you want to do. You're going to lose your underwear, but if you do it right, you're going to make a lot of money. That's what it is. You either lose it all or you make it all, but the opportunity, you can do whatever you want here. You can get a bicycle, a boombox, and sell cold beer and plátano frito on the street, and you can make money doing that. You know what I mean? You're going to open up a salon, dale, no permit. You want to open, my girl has a salon. I didn't even know. I go there the other day. She has a bar right next door.
She don't
I'm like,
even know.
You have a bar. She said, I told you I have a barcito. I thought it was a barcito inside the salon. I didn't know you open the door. There's a whole other bar on the other side.
That takes you 8 months. North America, liquor license take you 8 months to get, the background checks and all that kind of stuff.
Dude, in New York City, background check. Then you have a beer and wine. Then you have full liquor. Then you have a cabaret for dancing. You can't dance. You go to a bar that has full liquor, that has a sign, no dancing. What am I supposed to do? Sit in my chair and go like this? The whole time because I can't dance, and then the community board has to approve you, and then there's one fight outside, the community board shuts you down. No, papa. So anyway, I started coming back I started coming back myself, and then the way I ended up here is a story you'll find funny because John Hammond has to do with this, right? So I'm managing my own properties. I had just come back. It was 2015. I had just come back from spending my birthday a week in Puerto Plata, staying in Casa Linda. And I'm just there watching all the craziness in Clisante, drinking beer with my business partner. And I'm like, this is some funny shit. So anyway, I'm sitting home. It's a cold day, and I'm watching Caribbean House Hunters. I used to love that show on HGTV. Caribbean House Hunters, the International House Hunters, loved it. So I see this one, like somebody looking in Sosua, and I see a couple looking at Costa Hermosa. There's a condo that we still have here. Like, we just sold an apartment there right now in Bávaros, another lady, Las Corrales. And I said, you know what? I said, I got to buy a place there because I go, then I don't go for a year, then whatever. When you have a place, you're forced to go back all the time, no matter what. So I didn't know anything about Punta Cana. All I knew was Sosúa, Cabarete, Puerto Plata, and all that stuff because I started in Santiago, so that's where people, Santiagueros, Cibaeños, they go down to the beach there on the weekend. So I was like, let me do that. I looked, I found Joanne, we started talking. I came down, I bought an apartment in, in Montevista, and then I came back a month later and I bought one in the Palms right next to where your friend has the bar and everything. I bought 2 apartments in 2 months. I was like, yeah, that's it. And I started coming down. I was coming down every month. I would stay like 3 weeks here, go back 3-4 weeks to New York. Whenever I had a break in work there, I would just come down. Then I met somebody. I ended up liking her. I started coming every single month after that, every holiday weekend and everything. I was just back and forth. Then I liked her. Then I was like, listen, I realized I was spending money like I was on vacation. I'm like, honey, we can't do this. Let's do a business. I'm a serial entrepreneur. So it came down to a salon in Bella Vista in a plaza where I actually ended up having an office in for a year and a half, or a restaurant in Sosúa. And she said restaurant in Sosúa. So we opened up a restaurant right there next to the hardware store by Pola, right down the block from the Palms, right down when you could come out of yet, right there to the left. The one that has the painting, the sandwich spot right there. Right next to the that was mine.
Okay.
Parada Típico Fama was mine. I opened it up with her. I lost about $80,000 through the whole spiel with her and everything because she ran it through the ground. And then one day I just realized like this tank top, flip flop life is not for me. I'm a city guy. I like the fun stuff. I like high. I was coming back from Santiago and we're coming back at night after hanging out at Monumento and everything like that. And I was like, what am I doing here? This is a campo. For me, this is no more. I'm like, let's get out of here. And I was like, let's go to Santiago. Yo quiero ir para Santiago. And she's like, there's no work for me in Santiago. She spoke perfect English, by the way. So she was like, let's go to Punta Cana because she had worked for Grupo Punta Cana in the VIP in the airport there. So I was like, let's go check it out. Went to Punta Cana. I rented an Airbnb for 2 weeks. I found her a job through my connection in New York doing sales in the vacation clubs, and we just moved to Punta Cana. And then we tried to make that work, but it didn't. She left, and I was like, okay, so here I am in beautiful Punta Cana, and in the newest building in Punta Cana Village. I'm loving this luxury lifestyle. I was like, can I see myself going back to New York? Nah. Hey, partner, so you're going to run the New York City office, and we're going to open up a real estate office here. And that was the end of it.
Nice. Speaking of which, when do you come to Sosua?
I have to come there because, like I said, I want to open up a law firm there as we grow. That's my next office that I want to do. So I definitely do have to come down there. I've just been so swamped with work that even like Santo Domingo, I'm not going to be going that much unless it's for business. I have to focus on managing my firm now. I had managers in my firms before, but I'm managing it right now. I need to manage this. I know what needs to be done, and I enjoy doing this. So right now, I've just been super swamped. And also, keep in mind, I went to South Florida. I do like South Florida. I go to Panama a lot. I have to go in July to Panama also. I'm going to New York for like 2-3 days just to see my mom. And I go to Medellin also, which I like for fun. I was there for my birthday with my girlfriend. We spent like 2 weeks. Guatapé, amazing. Nice. So my plan is to be here running my business in Punta Cana and running the law firm between Punta Cana and Santo Domingo. And then on my spare time, every month and a half, I'd like to go to Panama or just go back and forth to Panama. But I'd like to branch out there also with the company because I do love Panama City. It's like a polar opposite to how things are here. So I do like that. I'm super hyper, so I like to be in different places. I like jumping on airplanes. I just don't like going to New York. That's all it is. If it's cold, don't call me for South Florida. I'll see you there. Panama, Medellin, Bogota. Even I don't mind.
You're exhausting. Even to interview, I feel like I need an Adderall just to talk with you, man. Just to keep.
I'm super hyper, man. I have like nonstop energy.
I got it, man. I love that about you. I meant specifically what's your ETA for a brokerage in Sosua?
Brokerage, I don't want to do. I don't want to do real estate. I want to.
I thought you said you're opening. You're bringing the law firm to Sosua. Gotcha. Okay.
That's what I want to do. I don't want to do that. I'm not, I got burned by not all, but most of 3 out of 4 managers I got burned. One was great here in Punta Cana. But the other ones I got burned. They did me so dirty that I realized that's why I'm here running my business. Right. That if I just don't have the bandwidth for that.
Okay.
And I mean, I'm not ruling it out, but I feel like with the law firm, I could do so well with the law firm that I don't want to, if I'm going to open up another branch of my company, I'd rather be in Panama City.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? I'd rather do that than kind of move around here. Because it's actually, believe it or not, so here's the weird part, right? Do you know that it's easier for me to run an office in Panama than in Punta Cana in Panama than Punta Cana Sosua?
You talking about a real estate office or a law firm?
Yeah. No, real estate office.
Real estate.
It's easier for me to run. You know why? Because the flight is only 2 hours to Panama. And then if I fly to Santo Domingo, I get a VIP, I go right through, I come right back out. It takes me longer to get to Sosua. I can go to Panama and back, and it take me, and I'll still won't get to Sosua. So it's kind of weird, right?
Yeah. Awesome, brother.
Yeah,
I want to keep you on time. We're at an hour now, so appreciate you, man. How are the Spanish lessons come? You've dialed back your content on, at least appears to me that you have. You don't jump up in my feed as much anymore. Yeah, up in my feed as much anymore. I think I said that right. So how's the Spanish for gringos?
So what happened with that is this. I've got a lot of content. If you actually look and you look at the YouTube that I have and everything, I've been doing a lot of business content. It's just, my bandwidth is only to a certain extent, and I just forget. And then I remember, and I'll grab 3 videos of Spanish for gringos or whatever, Spanish, whatever I say. But the thing is, I've been so busy working right now and putting out real estate content, law firm content, which generates business. The other stuff I do for fun, right? But the law firm and the other stuff is business. I give people the projects and stuff like that. So that's all it is. I haven't actually scaled back. I've been putting way more content out, but it's just been more business related instead of fun. But I will catch up on that as well, because also for me to do that, I've got to be in the mood. I'll see something weird and I'll be like, it's Spanish, whatever, because I'm motivated. I'm like an artist. So I'll never sit down. When you see me do these videos, right? I might have a video planned and I just don't feel like doing it that day. I'm not going to do it. I got to be motivated. I'll be like, all right, I'm going to do the video. All right, I want to tell this guy what happened. I want to tell this story. Like the one I just put up today with, took me an hour the other day. I was like, I'm in an hour in the freaking line waiting to get my medication because I have insurance. And I was there like this. I told her, I said, I'm growing hair waiting. Oh my God. You know what I mean? So that I did because it was natural. When I do these videos, it's because it naturally hits me. It's not because I can't do it if I don't feel it. You know what I mean?
I hear you there, man. It's a tough gig, this broadcasting thing. So, yeah, lots of luck with the podcast. I hope to be a guest on there one time. I don't know what I could offer a guy like you, but an ex-realtor, an expat, and stuff like that. It's October will be 3 years for me here, man. Time flies down here, man. Just flies.
It's slow but fast.
Yeah, and you don't know what day of the week it is half the time. I mean, I do, but for the first few months I was down here, I'm like, what day is it? It's Saturday every day. Get out of here. You know what I mean? I take my Sundays pretty seriously, though. Anyway, all the links are in the show description. Contact information. What else do you need before we get out of here?
That's it. Have fun. If people have questions, Mario FamaRD. Also, Mario FamaRD, if you guys have a business, whether you own it or if you want to submit it, I've created a directory.
Oh,
there,
yeah.
If you look on the Sosua, you'll see. If you go to Mario Fama and you look at the directory, you'll find restaurants, hospitals in Sosua, Punta Cana. I'm doing it slowly because I'm investing out of my own pocket. I have somebody who does that, and then sometimes people put it in there. I'm working on creating, besides my recommended providers, and just all my videos are up there as well on Mario FamaRD.
Okay, good.
I'm working on providing a directory in the major cities of this country. So if you're a foreigner, if you're a vacation, whatever, you're coming to Punta Cana. Okay, let me look over there. You'll find the paddle club, you'll find the hospital, you'll know where to buy furniture, you'll know where to buy electrodomesticos and stuff like that. I'm creating my own personal directory for people to help them.
I love you, brother. Thank you for your time, and I'm going to see you at the end of July. I'm going to come out for an extended weekend. I know I almost made your open house, and then I talked myself out. We had fight night the week after. I thought for some reason it was the same night, so I kind of confused myself in the beginning, and then I'm like, you know what? This probably isn't like a networking event where I can meet all the boys and girls that Mario rolls with, and then when I looked at it more closely, I'm like, it's an open house. This, you know what I mean? But it's still probably a networking event to a certain extent.
It was open house, networking, and I think I left at like 9 o'clock at night because I have a golden rule when we do events and stuff like that. My team, I force them. I tell them, if you don't do this, I'm going to fire you. I force them to sit there and drink beers and have appetizers and stuff, and we just have to get slammed before we finish the night. That's eso por ley.
Maybe I'll be back for Labor Day then. Give me lots
of
notice.
It's going to be fun.
But,
we have the deli there, we have drinks, we have music, everything.
That'll be my second trip out because I wanted to come down for a weekend and kind of see some spots and pick your brain a little bit and shake your hand, put my arms around you, give you some love. It'll be great.
Let me know. We'll coordinate. I'll be here.
All right, brother. Love you, man. All right. That's
Mario
FamaRD. I've been practicing. I don't know why. Yo soy
blanco, pero no soy banco.
I don't know why it's so difficult because I find it hilarious, and I love that it's become your open, right? Your identity.
And not only me. I don't know if you've noticed it. There's a girl, I speak to her sometimes. She does like the gringa, something she's called. She's very big on YouTube and stuff like that.
Okay.
And she's been using it. Because people send it to me. When other people use it, I get it sent to me. So it's become a thing that has been catching on.
Oh,
like,
good.
Pero no soy banco. And I was like,
You know what? Because I've almost got it down. It was funny because I found myself practicing it on the bike the other day. I had a 20-minute drive across town, right? And it drives me crazy that these two words that sound a little bit the same, and there's all the basically the same words. You're just saying three words over again in a different, and it blows my mind that I can't spit it out. And
it's a tongue twister.
Yeah,
it's been very Sally sold seashells by the seashore.
All right, oh boy. Hey, good luck with everything. We'll talk soon. Appreciate the time.
Thank you. Take care, brother.
All right, ciao.
Bye.
That's how you do that. Mario FamaRD. RD. Oh, don't take me. No. I'm not good with these full screen shots of me. Links are in the show description. Should I force you to watch some more Mario Fama? This is him on the fake book. This is him on the Insta. I looked for him on TikTok. I didn't find him. This is the website. Links are in the show description. Did I say that twice? 3 times? Maybe 6? This is the fake book that we just watched. Yeah, that's a video there. Let me see if I can... I don't know. Now, when I'm under pressure, I won't be able to find one of my beauties. Oh yeah, he's been very serious, business related. Like if I find this one on the golf course, I'll pee myself. It's still, I've seen this clip. I'm never going to find it. I've seen this clip probably 100 times, and it still busts me up. So very entertaining dude. I appreciate this guy a lot, and there's no way I'm going to be able to find it. I'll just pull something up just for the hell of it and see what we got here.
Buenos días, mis queridos amigos. Ahora, en esta temporada linda de Navidad, de paz, de amor, te quiero recordar que Santa Claus no existe. Nadie te va a dar ningún regalo. Ponte pila y trabaja en 2024 para obtener que tú quieres en tu vida.
What a monster. I can't believe I know what
Buenos días, mis
he
queridos amigos.
said. He just... I can't even repeat what he said. Something about Santa Claus not existing.
Ahora,
It's a very nice... I love Christmas. It's a very nice time, and I just wanted to tell you that Santa Claus doesn't exist. What a monster. I don't like this guy anymore.
Hello everybody, it's your boy Mario Fama, RD, aka Yo Soy Blanco, pero no soy blanco. So, you hate real estate brokers. You despise them. You're one of those guys that get online.
They're all crooks. They're stealing money. They're shitting around, shipping champagne, making $1 million a day. They don't do anything.
Well, let me explain something to you. First of all, I, in my Punta Cana office, am willing to offer a job to anyone who thinks that what we do is easy. Just come on in, survive off the money you make off of real estate. I'd love to document that with you weekly on social media so we can just kind of track your progress and you can show everybody how easy it is to make millions of dollars in real estate doing absolutely nothing. Okay, back to the real world now. Now, here's a reason why real estate brokers and brokers in general are never going away. As much as people dislike brokers, think that work is easy that we do or that they do in different aspects that I'm not involved in as brokery, it's because brokers are always going to be necessary. They've tried all this internet stuff, 1%, 2%, whatever, it doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Because of you, because of me, because of us, the human species. We're terribly, horribly difficult species. For one person to sell their goods to another person, often there's a need for another human being in the middle of these two wonderful, special human beings because we're so difficult at dealing with each other. I am very difficult in certain aspects of it when it comes to selling. I own it, right? People I feel like don't own themselves up a lot of times. Like I own it. I'm very difficult when it comes to certain situations in life. I'm a very difficult man. When it comes to sales, I'm not. When I want something, I already talk myself into it. All you gotta do is help me, and I'm going for it. I'll talk myself into it. I'll make the sale for you if it's what I want or if it's what I think I want. But most people are very difficult, and anyone that's ever worked in sales or just your regular job, how many times have you went home and took a drink because people were so horrible? People are very difficult to deal with, and especially in this day and time, we're getting worse and worse, I think, instead of getting easier and easier. So no matter what happens in this world, there's always going to be a need for a broker. A broker is basically just like a washer. When you have two screws or whatever, you have a washer there, right? We are a washer to make sure that everything works, because without us, things tend to fall apart because humans are just horrible at dealing with each other and weird and difficult and have mood swings. And I've seen deals where like an entire, you have a $600,000 deal in there, it's about to die over a light fixture. That's how horrible and difficult people are. So as long as we keep being humans, there's going to be a need for a human broker to mitigate between two other human beings to make a transaction happen. We're not going anywhere because we are how we are.
He's a hard man to keep up to, for sure. But that's what I like about him. The links are in the show description. For the 10th time, I'm Jim Fannin. I also sell real estate. I've been doing it for 30 years in Canada. I'm almost 3 years in Sasua, Gabarete. Now, work for a brokerage called Viva. Maybe you've seen the everything groups in Dominican Republic. A lot of them that have the little Viva logo in the middle. It's a circular logo. That's Clayton Gush, my broker. And, Yeah, maybe you see myself posting new listings on there. I'm not the guy that goes happy clients, pictures in front of sold signs. I just crush these deals. No, I'm never been that guy. But longtime realtor. Actually, when I was a member of an MLS system back in Canada, I'm not anymore, but I still hold a license in Ontario. My MLS system had rules that they made for Jim Fannin. In the very beginning, I would get my point and shoot camera. I would put the for sale sign like in the front of the house here, and then do a picture of the Jim Fannin Remax sign, and then in the background you'd see the whole house. So it was like promotion in a photo. They made that illegal. I started taking above market commissions because it's the right thing to do. When everyone's offering 2 or 2.5% to the selling broker or the buyer broker, if you offer 4, guess what? People work on your stuff harder. They show your listings more, and they'll try and get the seller more money, really, sometimes because it's more money for them. Sometimes they just negotiate it away, and that's fine. I end up doing that a lot of times. But a higher rate of commission, I used to put right in the remarks. Note, SB is 4%. And when everyone else was offering 2 and 2.5, you get lots of attention, and you tell your people, hey, if you don't get full pop, you don't have to pay full commission. Little inside baseball here. The best time for a seller to negotiate a commission with the agents is before they take less than what they're listed at. We know what the contract is. If you get full pop, if you get full list price, the only time you have leverage over the agents is when you take less. Before you take less, you say, well, hey, let's work a deal. What are you guys willing to do for me? You know? So I used to put the remarks, the first remark in the MLS listing would be, note, SB equals 4. Now, the public doesn't know what that means, nor do they care that much, but the agents knew. And then the MLS passed another rule that you couldn't put the commission in the remarks. There was a couple other ones. I can't remember what they were, but I call them the Jimmy Fannin rules. The MLS systems actually changed for me because I was genius in the marketing department. Not genius in a lot of things. A couple things I'm good at. Anyways, 905-934-1110. 905-688-2472. 2582. What was the radio station's number? Call now. 610-CKTB. It's, I have to look at the phone. 682-85. It's right down the middle. I can't remember. 934-1110? No. 1-809-330-8926. Buying Dominican Republic at gmail.com. We're on TikTok. We're on the fake book. TikTok's brand new. I've only got about 10 videos up there, and I have 1 follower. 1. So please like me on TikTok. Follow me on TikTok. I'm Buying Dominican Republic on TikTok. But we're everywhere. And hello to Kick. What is this guy's name? Tikentikin? I don't know. Yes, I could see you. I answered you. What's up, Kick? Kick's a new account, but we're broadcasting on the mall tonight. And my thanks to Mario. FamaRD. Yo soy blanco, pero no soy banco. Look, I almost got it out smoothly. All right, peace, love, hug your neighbor. And I am out.